Hey, it's the bovine back now to show you another aspect of what I love in life. If you don't know what Warhammer 40k is, let me give you a very brief rundown of how the history of it goes. And I will do my best to link. I'm a big fan of the story, okay? The story of Warhammer 40k is just... it's over the level of Star Wars. It's over the level of Star Trek. The thing that makes stories like Star Trek, Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, although what makes those compelling to a lot of nerds is the fact of how deep it goes, how deep the story is. Like, you have oceans of material. Every aspect of the world has already been thought of, right? Kind of like throwing in the kitchen sink, I guess you could say. Like, it's like the Demolition Man effect. Like, he got frozen, woke up in the future, and all of a sudden you wipe your rear end with 3 seashells. Nobody knows how the seashells work, but even an aspect like that is completely different in the future. And that's what makes great stories for nerds and geeks. To me, that's what makes great stories. It's something that's so encompassing that every aspect of life is considered. And I love the story of this. I suck at telling it, but I'm going to give you an overview, try to spark out some interest, and then I'm going to show you my Deathguard. Well, not my actual models, but I'm going to show you what I actually have. Later on, I'll have a video when I get everything. I still have some stuff that isn't painted yet. So, but I've had this army and the basis of this army for like 20 years. So I'm no newbie to this stuff. It's like I left for like 2 editions and I came back. So I'm brand new, coming back to 8th edition. I guess 9th edition is now coming out for the core rules. But I will leave a link in the description to a couple channels to check out as far as the lore is concerned. Oh my God, some of these guys tell the stories amazing, just amazing. Anyway, so basically the story of Warhammer 40k. It's like, if you've ever heard of fantasy where you have elves and you have dwarves and you have all these different races going at each other, you have the forces of darkness. It's the same thing, only in a dystopian far future. Okay, it's basically 40,000 AD. All right, so 38,000 years in the future. The story is basically centered. The focal point of it is around humanity, who is now stretched out to the stars. Hundreds of trillions of humans across millions of worlds. Okay, which is another great thing, because if you're building an army, the writers have basically literally said, there is so many souls in this in this galaxy. There is so much going on that you can create a story for your army, for your characters, that you point up and you write up. You can give them a backstory, and for all case purposes, that's canon, because it's such a huge universe. It's such a huge galaxy worth of events going on all the time, that the story that they worry about is about the main characters, pretty much the main characters that they came up with, the Primarchs, you know, the High Exarchs, all them, the gods of chaos, like the big orc wogs. Like, they'll tell you what happened with them, but you fill in the blanks pretty much, which is an amazing way to have a story told, because it lets your players run crazy with their creativity. But anyway, I will leave a description, or in the description, some links to some guys you guys should check out. Definitely give them a like and a subscribe. They do a great job with the lore, and if you want to dig in on it, they have hours and hours and hours and hours and hours, probably hundreds of hours of content to dig into. So as far as the brief history, basically centers around humanity. Basically, like, from our point in time, like 10,000 years ago, from present day, There was a group of shamans that were psychically inclined, because basically the world is like, you have the physical reality, the physical universe, and then you have the warp, which is the immaterium, which is the other side, an alternate dimension, like the upside down, that all of the emotions and the souls of humanity and other creatures in the universe go into the warp, or can be seen in the warp. And entities that grow out of our emotions, like demons, can see our souls flicker, and you like lights, like lamps in the distance, and they can go after them, and that's how they possess people. Well, 10,000 years ago, there really wasn't much going on in the warp. You need mortal races feeding the warp with energy to make things happen. Now, the warp doesn't have time, so everything that starts in there has always been there. Like, there was a point in time in the story that there was a god of pleasure or excess that was birthed into the warp named Slanesh, and from the moment it came into existence, like we can put it down on a calendar, it came, it's so and so millennia, it popped into existence. But according in the warp, he's always been there. That's how time works. It's really weird. Anyway, so the shamans foresaw in this great vision that humanity was going to come under some great peril, and they were going to need a savior. So there's a couple different ways the origin of the Emperor of Man has been said, but this is the most accepted way, I guess, is that these shamans mass suicided themselves, coalesced in the warp, and were birthed into this baby boy, who then was birthed with immortality, basically, or it's the Mortal Kombat version of immortality. You can live forever, but you can still be killed if you get shot in the face. You know, that type of immortality. Resistant to all kinds of strains of disease or whatever else. So he trotted along the centuries. Mankind got into space. They went through a golden age where everything was great, grand, and wonderful. And at the same time they were doing that, the elves of the galaxy, the Eldar, were at the height of their power, in a different sector of the Milky Way galaxy. And they were, just sitting around, living in excess, trillions of them. They had machines and psychic technology doing everything for them. They didn't want for anything, so they just kept on being more depraved. And all of that energy went into the warp, and it gave birth to Slanesh. Well, while in the midst of all this happening, and I might be getting some of this wrong, the empire in space, the golden age of mankind, came to an end because warp storms tore across the rest of the galaxy, which cut off communication, cut off travel, because spaceships use warp drives to get from planet to planet, and when you can't get into the warp because there's storms, it makes it a little bit hard. So planets that were set up that were just agriculture planets were cut off from the hive city planets that didn't have a way to grow food. So, basically the whole empire went into crap. So time goes by, and the emperor decides, after thousands of years of sitting on his ass not doing anything, that he's going to go out and, finally save humanity. He does the unification wars, gets an army up. He goes to Mars, which is one of his first stops, where he meets these tech priests, and he says, "Hey, y'all want to help us with all your guns and ammo and tanks? Sure, let's go." I mean, I'm obviously there's a lot more to this, but either way, he is at this point in time trying to master genetic engineering, which he makes 20 somewhat clones of himself. Some people say 22, others say 20. Either way, and those are called the Primarchs. And his whole thing is he clones himself 20 times and then makes a legion of superhumans, which are the Space Marines, cloned off of each of his clones. So, and each Primarch would be a head of their own legion. And the gods of chaos, they didn't like that, so they basically stole the Primarchs away as babies and threw them across the galaxy. So the emperor had to go and planet hop pretty much until he found all the Primarchs. A couple thousand years go by after he finds most of them, I think all of them, and then one of them betrays him because the Chaos Gods that split him up were whispering in his ear. He turns half the legions of Space Marines against the Emperor. There's a big war. The Emperor gets mortally wounded, and yeah, he's just kind of sitting on life support. I guess in 9th edition, he's psychically active because he's possessing people across the galaxy and using his psychic powers to completely devastate Chaos armies, and especially when his kids get involved, because there's like this guy right here. He's Mortarion, the Primarch of the Deathguard. This is literally one of his kids. This is one of his clones. Now, generally speaking, when a Primarch takes on a certain mark of chaos, which is, you have the 4 Chaos Gods. Khorne loves blood, murder, skulls for the Skull Throne, blood for the Blood God, all that stuff. I mean, they're all about close combat and ripping people apart. You have Nurgle, which this guy is for. It's about plague, disease, rot, everything to do with that, just infesting. So obviously he got raised to Demon Princehood, so he got wings and he's a little bit bigger, and I don't know if he counts as a monstrous creature. He probably does. I don't know. Either way. So that's pretty much the catch-up. Is the races that are a part of all this. You have the Necrons, which are basically Terminators. They're all metal guys. Their story is a tragic story. Oh my God. If you ever... Voldemort is one of the guys I'm going to link in the description of this video. His telling of Cesaric, the Silent King, and the history of the Necrons is probably... I mean, I listened to it. It's a two-parter, and it was probably about 2 hours long. I listened to it while I'm at work, my regular job, and oh my God, that's so good. So good. Anyway, now that I gave you a brief overview of the story of 40K, where do my guys fit in? Well, my guys, my Deathguard, because there's multiple different chapters, each legion of Chaos Space Marines that fell, they splintered off, and some of them have their own ends and their own goals, and either it's a big ball of mess. But either way, if you're going to play these, you need rule books, right? There isn't much to the expansion here. There really isn't much to it, but there is some interesting things. There is an app for this thing too, this Games Workshop too. I wouldn't suggest it right now. It's still in beta, I think, because it's not very good. But it does give you a lot of rules. Anyway, the army that I have, what I field, okay, because this is literally, you get these miniatures, you paint them, they're on bases, and you roll dice. I mean, for people that don't know, I just want to make it clear. So, I picked up a Plague Burst Crawler not too long ago. Oh. This thing's all kinds of fat and ugly. I freaking love it. I haven't been able to play with it yet, because of COVID, but oh, it's so nice. It's so nice. So a Plague Burst Crawler. My plan is to eventually have a full squad of Poxwalkers. I haven't got it yet. I do have a Hellbrute. I'm actually converting that from an Imperial Dreadnought I found in a box while I was moving into my house. So I'm going to convert an Imperial version. The interesting thing is that I believe it's the Dark Angels chapter of Imperial Space Marines, like the good guys, I guess. The Chaos are the bad guys. No squirms about it. Chaos are the bad guys. They have a lot of fallen. So I like to, sometimes with my Deathguard, I take some Dark Angels models. I'll get them like the ones with the cloaks and stuff, and I'll paint them up Deathguard and put little spiky bits on them and whatnot. And what that would signify is like that's a freshly fallen Dark Angel. I used to play with this Dark Angel player, so it would really tweak him. I have 2 Chaos Rhinos that house 2 8-man squads of Plague Marines. I have probably about 40 plague bearers, which are demons you summon in. These guys are, oh, they're so nasty. But those are the demons of Nurgle. They come from the warp. You can summon them into reality. They are kind of weak as far as, like, you can probably gun them down with enough small arms fire, but you get into close combat, they are nasty. All of them come with plague swords. And a plague sword, the rules for those is you get to reroll your failed wounds rolls. Obviously, this is a dice game if you don't know. Just trying to be hospitable for those that don't know what the hell I'm talking about. But then again, if you didn't know anything about this, you wouldn't be watching this. So the reason there's 2 8-man squads in the Rhinos is because I have a Chaos Lord, which actually I have a Plague Surgeon, which actually I took the arm off and put it on a regular guy. So the other guy is the Plague Surgeon. I'm using the body here, which I shaved off the syringes. And I have a different arm and backpack. That's actually my lord, my main lord of the army. He's got supplicating plate. I can't ever pronounce the damn word. It's the relic that when he takes a wound and makes an armor save, whatever unit wounded him takes a mortal wound back. It's like thorns. It's great. I have 3 mythic blight haulers. I have a tallyman in the other rhino with another lord that actually has a Kami Melta and a power fist. The 2 Plague Marine squads, one of them is outfitted with 2 Melta guns and then 2 Plague Cleavers. The Plague Cleavers and Melta guns obviously are completely anti-armor, melee and shooting. The Rhino itself for them has a Kami Melta on top, and the aspiring or the champion for that Plague Marine squad has a Kami Melta and power fist, and of course the Lord that's in there has a power fist and Kami Melta. So the whole thing is just a tank hunter squad. That's all they're for, is hunting armor. Now, my main lord, his name's Scalper. Long story there. Maybe one day I'll do a video on the back lore of my armies, but the main lord I got, Scalper, he's all anti-infantry. I'm actually thinking about switching off the relic from the plate armor he's wearing, because there's this sword that can replace a Bale sword out of this book that basically ignores invulnerable saves, which is, I'm kind of thinking about it. But anyway, I got 3 mythic blight haulers, which is basically, these are engines, demon engines that are, they're vehicles that are possessed by a demon. And it comes with a multi-melta and missile launcher, basically anti-armor. Very nice. I got 3 of those running, and with 3 of them in the squad, that gives them +1 to a chance to hit with shooting. I have a bunch of cultists somewhere, but I don't think I'm going to include them in my current update. I have something pointed up with Death Shroud Bodyguard, but I don't actually have, I haven't picked up the box of them yet. I have Typhus's old model that I can use, that I'm using for, we're going to be using for one of them. So it'd be a 4-man squad, 5 with my Lord of Contagion, wherever he is in here. Oh wait, that's right. I got him from the box set. You can't buy him anymore. Lord of Contagion is basically a Terminator Lord with, just like this, but he's got a Plague Cleaver instead of a scythe. And, yeah, he's cool. He was a special edition, so I got him that way. I do have a squad of Blight Lord Terminators. They are just as in the picture describes. They're very mixed as far as what their weaponry is. I have Nurglings. I just don't know if I'm going to include them. I got the old school Nurglings. These ones just look like they're just piled on top of each other. Not necessarily a bad thing, but they almost look like they're on a flat. There's no 3D to them, you know? Doesn't look, oh wait, maybe I can see. And my computer's going to be slow, isn't it? I want to see how thick the new ones are, because the old ones are okay. Well, they ain't bad. They ain't bad. They got a little bit of depth to them. They got a little bit of depth to them. I don't know. The old ones were just fine with me. They're basically like fodder. They're basically the strength of a human, but each base had 3 wounds. I'm not sure what the updated rules are for them, because I haven't really looked into them too much. What the hell else do I have in it? I think that's it. I got the Hellbrute, but the Hellbrute is a missile launcher twin las cannon. And I got 3 of these. That's all anti-tank. I have a whole squad anti-tank, and a lord that's anti-tank, another lord that's anti-personnel, and everybody in his squad. He has a tallyman with him, so they can reroll their 1s. Everybody in his squad has what the hell is it? Not bale swords. Plague axes. No. I can't remember what the axes are called. Anyway. It all gives them +1 to strength, all of them. So, yeah. I think that's pretty much my army. I used to have a Demon Prince. I used to actually have... Where is it? Chaos... Oh, no, I didn't want to click on that. Chaos Demons. There it is. I used to have a Great Unclean one. Wait, what happened? Can I click off of Deathguard? Yes, okay. I used to have a Great Unclean one, not this model. This model looks amazing. I had the old model that looked like crap. He literally had the same weapons. He had a sword raced into the sky, and then he had a bunch of chains. But he did not look this good. Oh my god, this thing looks great. That's the essence of Nurgle right there. Everything from your internal organs to your flesh, everything's just rotting and pustulent. And you know what? You'd think that would make him weak. No. These guys are all tough. These guys are hard to kill. You know, these guys, like, if they fail a wound and they're going to die, you roll a dice on a 5 or 6, they don't die. You know, they shrug stuff off. That's the biggest reason I went for him, because my brother, he's always been a fan of Khorne. Even though now he's pretty much been 100% Adeptus Mechanicus since they came out, but he was always a big fan of Khorne. Let's see, Bloodletters. Yeah, these are the demons of Khorne. Pretty appropriate if you think about it. And back in the day when we first started playing, it was a very easy distinction between Khorne and Nurgle. Khorne was, +1 to strength. Nurgle was +1 to toughness. So literally they offset each other. So our games were just about pretty much tactics, because as far as the stat lines went, everything evened each other out. So, but yeah, that's pretty much it. If you don't know anything about 40K, seriously, take some time and look into it, because there's so much. Let me just give you a quick look over here. Well, I mean, hell, you guys can look. It's gamesworkshop.com. You can find this stuff. I do want to look at the Necrons, though. Oh, the Necrons. I'm a big fan of green. Oh, they have Cesaric out. Oh, this guy's a legend. Oldest character in, at least in my opinion, from what I know of the lore, the oldest character in Warhammer 40,000. This guy is millions and millions of years old. And yes, they do have that whole... Can this work? No, it's not working. Never mind. And yes, they have this whole, like, Egyptian vibe. I think that's on purpose. My god, the guy up there stuck. Oh, that's so cool. Anyway, I'm going to stop drilling. You get the idea. Warhammer 40K. Give it a shot if you never have. Look in the links in the description below for the lore channels. Great stuff. Check it out. Like, subscribe, follow me on Twitter, all that crap. Peace. Moo moo.